This is Sidelines on your sound and sports alternative, KVSC.
Welcome to KVSC Sidelines. I am Bobbie Bullock, joined by the guys, Sauceman, Thomas, Leif, and of course, AJZ. Guys, today's a special day. Why? We are live for the first time on UTVS. I got to give a shout out to my dad. He promised me he was going to watch this. So, Dad, if you're watching, thank you. But, guys, a lot to get to today. We got things going on the field, on the court. Let's dive into baseball. Let's talk about the Cubs. I know he's wearing the jersey again. I hope you were bringing him a little bit of faith. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the series, NLCS series with the Cubs and Dodgers. Quite the series. Hendricks versus Kershaw. What do we have there?
Well, going into tomorrow night, we're going to be back at Wrigley, and that's probably the biggest thing. The atmosphere at Wrigley right now is probably insane. I don't know if you guys have ever been to Wrigley Field, but even in the years that the Cubs were awful, it's still a very intense game-watching experience. And now, since they're in the NLCS, they're at home. They're up 3-2. They're looking to move on to the World Series. It's got to be unreal. The only thing I'm scared of is the last time they were in this exact same position, we had the Bartman incident.
Can we please talk a little bit about that? A little bit about it? So I was talking to Sauceman on the way here today, and a big rumor that they have is that if the Cubs win the World Series, they are going to bring him back, find him, because I'm sure they know.
have to.
Yeah, and be a part of the parade. Is that a rumor? He was laughing at me.
That's the biggest rumor I've ever heard.
That's got to be a rumor.
Because there's no way they can bring him back for the parade. I can see them bringing him back the next year for a first pitch.
Yeah.
But there's no way they're going to get him back for the parade. He has been scrutinized for how many years now? Cubs fans have absolutely hated him.
If he still lives in Illinois, I will be surprised.
Yeah.
I mean, poor guy. He had to change his name. He had to move, leave his job, just because of that incident. Those Cubs, they take it serious. They take it serious, those fans.
Yeah, back to the game aspect of it, though.
Okay,
You got
AJ.
Hendricks and you got Kershaw.
Yeah.
Kershaw is amazing. If you don't think he's one of the best pitchers in baseball,
Something's wrong with you.
exactly.
Best pitcher on the planet.
Well,
The big thing about that is he's pitching. It's either 3 or 4 times in the last 12 days. As a professional pitcher, that's not a lot of time to rest. When you're getting 3 days to rest in between. The biggest thing I'm worried about, though, is no matter what team it is, even if it goes to 7 games, even if LA ends up winning, you got Cleveland having so much rest because they've already won their series. Their bullpen's gonna be totally just full strength. They've been relaxed and they're watching games. They're watching the games. They're
wondering who they're going to play.
Exactly.
But Cleveland having that much rest isn't always a good thing in Major League Baseball. They play 162 games a year, and they're playing 5, sometimes 6 times a week.
Yeah.
Those guys are used to going and going and going and going, and then all of a sudden you stop them right before the biggest series of the year. I don't think that's always a good thing to have them have that much rest time, especially in the
A lot of thinking time, I would always think. For sure. And I guess my question, you guys, is the Cubs are down. Now they just won 2 in a row. Can they seal the deal past Kershaw? Can they do it?
I
Yes.
think so.
especially at home.
The bats have awoken, especially for guys like Addison Russell and Anthony Rizzo. Going into Game 4, they were combined 3 for 50 at the plate. Since then, they're batting over 450 combined, and Addison Russell has back-to-back nights with home runs. Anthony Rizzo, he actually is using Matt Caesar's bat.
His bat's not on fire. Matt's bat's on fire.
Yeah, Matt Caesar, who isn't even playing, hasn't played a game in the postseason yet. He's using his bat. He's hitting the crap out of the ball.
I know it.
Addison Russell, Matt Caesar's contributing to him. He wore his underwear the other night for the game. Like, that's not even a lie. That he was wearing Matt Caesar's underwear for the game.
And who doesn't say baseball's not superstitious?
Exactly.
I know. I was going to say. That's exactly what I was thinking. But I want to talk, too, of course, about Cleveland advancing to the World Series. Now, I know we were just talking about this before we got on. When was the last time they were in the World Series? You find that?
Yeah, it was 97 the last time they were in the World Series.
97.
They were in it.
They
haven't won
it
it since 1948.
Okay, I meant winning. 1948.
48 was when they
Okay,
last
so,
won it.
I mean, if the Cubs, if they do, knock on wood, we have a lot of high pressure for them. If they win, we got 2
Superstitions.
teams who haven't been there forever. I mean, I think right now the Cubs-Dodgers, greatest series right now, but what a World Series experience if those 2 teams would be there together. But I got to ask, what was that matchup like with Cleveland and Toronto?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Cleveland dominated and Toronto didn't show up at all.
I mean, they weren't very good teams for an American League Championship Series. I don't like Toronto too much. I said I didn't want to bet against them, so I picked them to be in the World Series, but they kind of blew up in my face with that pick. Cleveland, credit to them. They have a good bullpen, but that's about it. Corey Kluber's good. The rest of the rotation, really young, really inexperienced. Trevor Bauer has some drone issues that I don't think we need to talk about. But beating Toronto has so many clubhouse issues right now. We saw it in September. We saw their tantrums when they wouldn't let the media talk to players after a playoff loss. This is not a good Toronto team, and they're not really headed in a good direction. Both Bautista and Encarnacion are headed to free agency. I think they're done after this year. It's going to be a long, long time before Toronto is ever in the ALCS again.
This entire season, I've been so sick of Toronto. So childish. Like you were talking about. And at one point in the season, they had printed out pictures of some journalists' faces and put them up in the clubhouse, and that was like a signal to not talk to those specific people after games, just because they didn't like the way they wrote about the team or whatnot. But then they are hands down the team with the most hardos in the league. These guys were fighting, like just picking fights out of the blue with like the Yankees down the backstretch of the season, with the Tampa Bay Rays.
The Rangers.
The Rangers too. Yeah, especially with
Bautista.
Odor and
Bautista,
Bautista. Like somebody threw it one pitch inside. It almost was a strike, and Tulowitzki gets mad. Next pitch, another one is inside, and so Donaldson wants to go ahead and talk to.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable how just childish these guys are. You're playing in the major leagues.
Yeah,
There's no room for that.
Another big thing about that is putting these journalists face up, not talking to them because they give you bad press, all this stuff. You're in Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
You're a professional athlete, and the whole world's looking at you. How can you not expect for the media to write about you, whether it be good or bad? It's not like you're playing. Yeah, exactly. It's not like you're playing in a throwaway game up in Rochester. It's a little plug
And the
for
thing is,
Miracle.
it's everybody's
Miracle
talking to them. I mean,
you.
it's like, it'd be different if, no one talked to the media. Everyone talks. What makes them different that they can't talk to the media when they lose? I mean, obviously, no one wants to talk to the media all the time.
Like AJ said, it's childish. It's just childish.
It's also weird how they're saying, "Oh, the ALCS is rigged." I'm like, what?
No, circumstances.
Oh yeah,
No, stop.
That's like really. Why do you need to go that far? That's just like you said, childish. That's
You don't have
stupid.
You need two things to win in the playoffs: hot hitting and good pitching. Unfortunately for Toronto, they don't have any good pitching. Stroman was bad this year, and he was their entire pitching rotation. Estrada was meh, but I mean, they're hitting. They got hot against the Rangers, and they cooled off against Cleveland, and they didn't have the pitching to compensate. They're not a good baseball team.
So, who do we think? I know a lot of people want the Cubs. I think there's so much pressure on these poor Cubs that everyone wants them to do well. But what team, I guess, is the best matchup with Cleveland?
The Cubs.
I think if you're Cleveland, you want the Dodgers to pull out.
That's what I'm wondering. What they're having all this time to
Yeah.
think. What are they thinking? Who do they want in the World Series with them?
Well, no matter what, for sure they're rooting for LA tomorrow, just because then the series is extended. They get a little more rest time
Right.
for their bullpen. But in the end, I think LA is the way to go for them, just because the bullpen isn't as deep in LA. You got guys like Maeda and Baez as a relief pitcher. But when it comes down to it, it's just the depth isn't there for LA, and that's going to really benefit Cleveland if those two teams do match up.
Let's think of it this way. There's 3 teams left in Major League Baseball to make it. What a story this is for the media for Major League Baseball. Cleveland, Believeland. They had the whole E60 on them. They've had
The land.
exactly the land.
sick of them.
They've had all this stuff about Cleveland not winning championships. They win the NBA title, and now they're in the World Series, which is outstanding. Obviously, they're not going to win the Super Bowl in Cleveland. We can just throw that out. And then you got the Cubs, who haven't won it in 108 years. They have all the superstitions and all that stuff going through Wrigley Field, all that stuff. And then you go the LA Dodgers, who Vin Scully is done this year. I mean, what a story for any of these teams to win the World Series. It'd just be a remarkable story, and it's such a great ride, and it's actually really fun to be. What a time to be alive.
Yeah.
What a time to be alive. Well, that starts Tuesday, correct, in Cleveland. Cubs versus Dodgers game tomorrow night.
Yeah, that'll be in Chicago.
There we go. So we will find out what's going to happen, who's going to be there, who's going to play against Cleveland. But I want to change topics a little bit on you guys. Let's talk about hockey. Last week, NHL started, right?
Yeah.
I know we've always wanted to talk about this. We finally put it at the top of our list to talk about today. I want to talk about the Stanley Cup predictions. Who are we with? I know we always talk
Right
about
off
football.
the bat.
I like it. I like it.
Who you got?
It's never too early.
You got to be bold.
It's never too early.
We got to be bold. I know who you like for football, whatever. I want to know everybody's team, who we got. So when it comes down to it, we don't have, bandwagons.
Bandwagoners.
I know.
Bandwagoners
I know.
like Bobbie Bowling.
I know.
Sorry, I
Bobby.
had something in my throat before I said Bobbie. So.
I like winners. Okay, here we go.
We starting over here?
Yeah, I was looking at you, Sauce
Well, since I've been a young guy, I've been a huge Alexander Ovechkin fan. I'm a straight Washington Capitals ride or die. That's my team.
Washington Capitals?
Oh yeah, of course.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
Thomas?
I'm a Minnesota Wild Boston Bruins guy, but I mean I feel like Dallas is gonna win the Stanley Cup this year. They might make a trade for a
Okay.
goalie, who knows? But I like Jamie Benn.
All
He's
right.
a stud.
So we got Dallas. We got the Washington Capitals. Leif, Packers. Where are you going with the hockey?
Well,
now?
obviously we're Wisconsin. We don't really have hockey.
Yeah.
So my knowledge of hockey is a little bit, but obviously I'm praying for the Wild, do well. But obviously I'm just probably to annoy everyone else. I'm gonna throw Chicago in there.
All right. Okay.
That's a shame.
All
That
right.
That is a
veteranness, and then they've always seemed like they could pull it out throughout the years. But
That's a
I'm just gonna
bandwagon move.
I think that's
I
a
mean,
good. That's a
you
good
also
pick.
got if you want me to go with St. Louis, I mean they've been pretty decent out of years. And like you said, Washington Capitals. That's the only thing for them is getting past the second round.
All right. Leif, I
I
need one
know.
team out of you. Who is that? Is it St. Louis or is it?
You know what? Just for it to not be the bandwagon, I'll go with St. Louis then.
Okay.
Fine.
All right.
AJZ, who do you got there, buddy?
All right. I'm always going to root for the Wild any day of the week.
Yep.
But if we're looking at actual predictions of who I'd put money on right now to win the Stanley Cup, out of the Western Conference, I'm definitely going to go Nashville Predators. The entire the Central Division is so stacked this year. Toughest division in hockey for sure. But when you look at the Predators, the goaltending, Pekka Rinne, so good. He's an elite goaltender. At the blue line, they made that big acquisition for PK Subban in exchange for Shea Weber. Up front, you got young guys like Philip Forsberg. And no, excuse me. Yeah, they have him, but then they also have Seth Jones at the point as well.
He's a stud.
Yeah, he's unbelievable. And then just the depth there, and like Thomas was kind of talking about, Leif was talking about in like veteranness. You have a lot of older guys who know the game. That's what
Right.
they got in like Mike Fisher. It's a really good team. Out of the Eastern Conference, I'm going to say Tampa Bay probably makes it back though.
All right, we'll see. Sometimes I feel like you got some good predictions, but I don't know. I'm a big bandwagon. We always keep talking about, but I'm gonna go with who we guessing. I'm gonna go with
The
them.
Penguins.
The Pittsburgh Penguins.
Such a bandwagon
I don't know.
move.
I just well,
Bobbie bandwagon over here.
I don't try to have that, but I think I like
It
winning
just comes
teams.
naturally.
It's just
Whoever
natural.
wins the year before, that's my team.
Hey, they've had
the
a
Broncos. She's a huge Broncos fan this year too.
Sauce man. You got to give it to the Penguins. They've had a good start since Sidney
Yeah.
Crosby hasn't been there.
Yeah, sure,
oh,
but they won it last year.
All right. Guys, let's talk a little bit too about the Wild. They are having a heck of a good start. What do they got? 15 goals through 4 games. What do we see in this team this year so far?
Well, I mean, they dropped their season opener, but
Yep.
since then they had 3-game homestand, go 3-0. But the interesting thing about those is they were all come from behind wins. They need to be better in the first period, but the goaltending is looking solid. There's a couple goals here and there where Dubnik's kind of let them in, and it's you might have been able to stop that. But some of those are circumstantial. When they played the Kings, they went up a guy against Zatkov, and they throw in Kemper, who in 5 career starts against them has a sub-2 goals against average. He's like 4-0-1 against them. Super good, and he goes ahead and is lights out. And then last night against who was it? The Leafs. They play one of the hottest rookies in the NHL right now, and Austin Matthews. He goes, he puts up. Did he put up 2 points? I want to say 2 points.
I think 2, yeah.
I think
No,
he had a goal and assist. But once again, come from behind win. After they go down quick, they go ahead and battle back, and that shows a lot of resilience to the team.
It does. And I got to ask this too. What's the difference, I think, in philosophy with, Kemper and Dubnyk? What are their traits that they have that are different, or like what makes them so unique, different from each other?
Well, when you look at Kemper, he's been a really streaky goaltender. He'll either have like a week and a half of being just like super hot, nothing's getting past him, or he'll have a few games in a row where I don't know if he can stop the puck. Dubnyk, on the other hand, when he first was acquired by the Wild at the trade deadline a couple years ago, the guy went he played like 26 games straight or something like that. Only lost like 1 or 2 games.
Dubnyk?
Yeah, Dubnyk.
Yeah.
He kept the Wild.
Saved the season.
Saved the season. Got the Wild in the playoffs after a terrible January month, which for some reason is the Wild's Achilles heel every year. But that was the Mike Yeo era. That's gone. Hopefully it's not this year. But he's going to be a consistently elite guy. And a lot of people are like, Dubnyk, eh.
Right.
A lot of Chicago fans I talk to don't think Dubnyk's that good. He's proven himself week in, week out that he will be able to be there for the Wild. He can stand on his head. He'll make the stops that's needed, especially in crucial game situations like we saw all last season going into the playoffs.
I want to add in, like, for defensively, I know it's been pretty huge. And I know the Kings, they killed 4 power play goals on them, and especially one with 5-on-3. I mean, their percentage last year, they were ranked 27th, and they made the Kings 0-4 on power plays. So they obviously that has improved over the years. I mean, block shots margin 24-5. I mean,
Right.
that has improved. They had a big night against the Kings, mostly defensively on the defensive side. So that's been sticking out for me.
I got to bring up a kind of a fun little fact. I like fun facts when we do this show. And Nick Dowd used to play for St. Cloud State. It was fun to see him, the LA Kings. They talked about him all the time. What did you guys think of his play?
Well, I mean, he recorded his first NHL goal.
Yep.
That was, that's a great milestone always.
Yep.
It's been a little shadowed by the fact of you got guys like Connor McDavid, who's still just unreal. Austin Matthews, Patrick Laine. Those guys have been kind of tearing
Eichel.
it up. Eichel, of course.
Can't forget him.
Well, I mean, he's hurt, so oh
Right.
well. But
Oh, well.
I thought it was cool. It was cool to see a Husky. Used
yeah,
to be here.
exactly.
Always good to see a
it's super
Husky
nice
in
to
the
see-
NHL.
Always good to see a Husky. But
Yeah.
and the cool thing was that he was just a Husky, a couple years ago?
Yeah.
So-
Two,
Two, exactly.
three, maybe.
I think it was,
Something like
yeah,
that, yeah.
something like that. But I want to talk about Minnesota Wild. They play tomorrow night against New Jersey.
Yep.
What's this matchup looking like?
Well, you got a great goaltender in Corey Schneider on the other end of the ice. And then you got another star who came from Edmonton during the offseason to go to New Jersey, Taylor Hall, and he's been having a great season starter for them. He already has a couple points. He's really contributing to Travis Zajak's game. And then kind of, like Thomas and I were talking about this, they have a few big names right up front, but then on the back end, it's not a lot of big guys.
Yeah.
It's a lot of youth and a lot of kind of budget guys who are there just because they fill the role. They fill the roster spot. So I think the Wild will pick up a win, but it's not. You never know. It's the NHL.
And I believe New Jersey's 1-2-1.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
That should be right.
All right, guys, and a huge topic with the Wild. What do we think of this new coach? I think he's a great guy. Right when I saw him, when he had his first press conference, I said, great pick. What are your guys' thoughts on him?
It's still early.
Yeah, I mean, we're 4
We're
games into
4
the season.
games in.
It's tough to
80-some
judge.
game season, but
If I had to give
I
my
think-
first impressions,
I think the guys like him.
That's
big.
what I want to know. I want to know what you guys think with the chemistry and the guys.
yeah, I mean, from what it sounds like, especially with not only Bruce Boudreau but Scott Stevens, the new defensive coach, it's working out pretty well. In the post-game interview last night, Matt Dumba was kind of talking about that. Scott Stevens is such a down-to-earth guy that they're talking like buddies, like he's been coaching there for the longest time, even though he just came in this offseason. But Bruce Boudreau, he's been everywhere, it seems like. I mean, the guy's got, 400 and something career wins.
412, I believe.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
412.
He's the winningest coach,
No,
or
he
in season, is it? Or
he's either the winningest coach in Wild franchise history or second to Jacques Lemaire.
okay.
But I like him. I like him. He seems to make people better around him. I don't know if you guys have seen the speech. You can't just outwork the guy. You got to want it, and I'll save a couple
Yeah.
words there.
I haven't seen that one.
Look it up.
I want to look
it's
that one
really-
up.
It's funny, but it's like inspirational because his body structure during the time is just unreal.
Yeah.
But I like him. I mean,
We'll give him a
he's
month.
good. I want to give him a month.
All right, we'll give him some time.
We'll talk.
You
we'll
guys don't
come
give a lot
back
of people
around.
time. Sam Bradford, we were jumping on him in the first game, but hey, talking about the Vikings, Sam Bradford haters over here. We are still 5-0, the best record in the NFL.
Only undefeated team.
Only
that's right.
undefeated team. How long can this team stay undefeated, guys?
At least this weekend.
Yeah, it'll be extended. I'm gonna put money on that. When you go into the game, the best defense. I had somebody trying to tell me the other day that the
Oh.
Vikings don't have an elite defense.
Yeah.
Are you
What?
kidding me? Yeah, yeah. Somebody, a Falcons fan, legitimately told me that.
Don't tell me it was Falcon.
No.
Okay.
No. It
He's
was
a Cowboys fan.
No, but the thing is with the Vikings defense, people love to hate them
yeah.
because they're so talented and they're not that old. They're pretty young.
Yeah, no,
Our-
they're super young.
and the people who run it, the 2 inside linebackers, young guys,
Yeah.
drafted 2-3 years ago. Like that's remarkable, and that's why people love to hate them. But our defense is, I think, gonna confuse Carson Wentz so much. I don't see
Yeah.
him having a chance in this.
But even if you look at the offensive side of the ball, Sam Bradford, his QBR through the first 4 games with us so far is 73.5. It's 73. That's 5th best in the NFL right now. Second best passer rating, only behind MVP leading candidate Matt Ryan. He's got a 109.8 passer rating. That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Right.
And I know Dante Smith somewhere is shaking his head, but it's because he thinks he's a game manager. But Sam Bradford's the real deal, especially in
He
this Minnesota
is.
offense.
Thank you.
North Turner's making him succeed, and he's in finally a spot to where he's able to do that.
I think it's a funny coincidence. They're 5-0, the best record in the NFL. He's going against the Eagles today that used to be his old team, and for some reason that coach, I felt like, didn't believe in him, right? How long was he there and then he didn't play?
The biggest thing is with them going back to the Eagles, he says there's no hard feelings there,
That's
not a
a
big
lie.
deal. But if a team loses their quarterback like the Vikings did early in the season, how many teams are willing to give up their starting quarterback?
Yeah.
Exactly.
And how many teams? And they took a quarterback, second overall pick. So they're obviously going to run him out of there sooner or later.
They
And
obviously don't
had
have
it
faith
coming.
in the guy.
I was thinking like, okay, Tom Brady, they're not going to get rid of Tom Brady. They're not going to get the Falcons aren't going to get rid of Matt Ryan, like big time quarterbacks. And Sam Bradford is a pretty big time quarterback. He was #1 overall pick. He's been. I mean, his physical features are just unbelievable. Super tall, big hands, can throw the ball. He's got a big arm, golden arm. But how many teams can do that? So obviously there's going to be hard feelings here. I think the Vikes are going to go in here thinking, we got your quarterback and we're going to show you what we can do with him.
And what Mike Zimmer always says, we talked about this last time, he loves rookie quarterbacks because he loves to confuse them. We have a great defense. He loves to get in those rookie quarterbacks' heads. I think it's going to be a great test against Sam Bradford and Wentz. What do we got going with those two quarterbacks? What's the difference between these two?
The difference between them that I see is Bradford has got more of the accurate arm. He's more of, you don't want to say game manager, but he's smart with the football.
Yeah.
He doesn't turn the ball over.
Because he has good defense.
Yeah, he does what he needs to do with the defense that we have. Wentz, on the other hand, he's actually really good when teams blitz extra players against him. I believe his completion percentage is a little bit over 88% when there's more than a four-man rush. But with Wentz, though, when he's pressured by a four-man rush, he's not very good. I mean, he's got the traits to be a good quarterback in the future, but this year, I mean, we saw it. He started turning the ball over in their two losses. And that's what the Vikings need to do. Get inside his head with only a four-man rush. Leave those extra guys in coverage. Confuse him with the coverage and that double-A gap look.
The best thing about the Vikes is that we don't need to rush 6 guys to get to the quarterback. They can only rush their front 4, and they can still put a lot of pressure on the quarterback. They don't need Kendricks and Barr to blitz every time in order to confuse the quarterback, see what's going on. Their front 4 is solid.
Yeah, Everson Griffin, he's unbelievable, at a defensive end. When you look at Carson Wentz, though, as a rookie, you don't have a lot of film on you. Obviously, they've played, 5-6 games now?
Yeah, 5.
5, because they
3
had
and 2,
they already
5
had
weeks,
5.
yeah.
3 and
But
2.
I mean, he still got that unpredictable factor, and that's probably the scariest thing for any defense, is because when you can't study a guy from
Right.
looking at a full span of his last year, he's only got 5 games under his belt. Anything could happen. I mean, they could pull something out of his sleeve, and the Vikings aren't going to be ready.
I mean, he hasn't started too terrible. I mean, he's 102 for 157 completions, over 1,100 yards,
And he
7
started off
touchdowns and
3-0.
1 pick. And he started off 3-0. I mean, yes, he does not have the Vikings defense, but I mean, you can't. This is his first year. I mean, you can't bash him too much. But first 5 games, I mean, it's not bad numbers.
Right, and a little bit what AJZ said, about these coaches are going to start getting film. They're going to start knowing. They're going to start watching what he does. They're going to start knowing who he is, and they're going to start scouting him better. I think it's going to be a true testament how good this guy is after the coaches, like the great defensive coach Zimmer is, to go against him. But what I really want to talk about, I don't know if you guys watched the Monday night game. The Monday night football commentators, they kept talking about how slow the game was and how many penalties they called, how many flags they threw. I want to talk about the interference being renewable or being reviewable. What are your guys' takes on that?
It's such a judgment call. I don't think they
Yeah.
can.
You know-
They can't review that. It's not like a touchdown. A touchdown's not a judgment call.
So you think it should be a judgment call and it should not be?
It should stay a judgment call. It's always
Okay.
been a judgment call. I don't, because if they go reviewable on pass interference, every single pass could possibly be pass
Yeah.
interference.
Right.
This
I
game
think-
is going to take forever.
I think it has to be circumstantial, where it's just like all challenges and whatnot are, you can't challenge within the last 2 minutes of the game because it's already done.
Yeah.
The last minute 30 or 2 minutes, let's just go with that, just because it's already kind of established as that. Any, kind of 50-50 ball where because I mean, we saw 2 games this past weekend get influenced by this. Atlanta and Seattle, Panthers and Saints.
Yeah.
Benjamin was held. That didn't let Carolina extend a drive.
Julio Jones was held.
Julio Jones got ripped down by
Richard Sherman.
It wasn't even close. I was watching that game.
They're
and
like
I couldn't
holding
believe it.
hands.
Yeah, they got up. Richard Sherman kind of storms off to the side, and he knows he gets away with it. But I was just sitting there like,
Such
come
a
on,
bad
there's
thing.
gonna be a flag. There has to be a flag.
Yeah.
Nothing came. Matt Ryan walks off, super calm about it for some reason. But they end up losing the game on that because
Right.
it was 4th and 10. It should have picked up like 18 yards, but Instead,
And
you
I
know,
think that's where this question is coming from,
Yeah.
is that scenario right there. But I'm super excited to talk about this. You wore the jersey. Your Packers finally won.
I mean, they won the first couple game in.
yeah, but
Would
last
we-
2
But-
weeks ago,
Oh
they got-
yeah, Dallas. They did not.
Good thing they got that early bye week.
That
So
was cool. No, I still disagree
where
with
are we
that.
going with the Packers, man? What are we
I mean-
doing? They're a mystery. What's
they're
going
still
on?
hot garbage. There's no mystery
They're
about
still
it.
going to be obviously what they are. I mean, we've been spoiled throughout the years when Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers have. When we come in from '92, they've been an average team, and once they come up, everyone didn't really expect much from them, and then they all of a sudden exceeded their expectations. They're like, holy crap!
Right.
And obviously after that, everyone perceives them as, all right, we need high expectations from these guys, and then when they come human and get like average numbers, everyone always questions, well, what's wrong with you?
Well, I guess my question is that not so much the team, but Aaron Rodgers. I don't know if you guys watched The Bachelor at all. I don't-
It's all because of The Bachelor.
You know, I love The Bachelor. I don't know if you guys do we watch The
Yeah,
Bachelor,
we
boys?
know.
No, I
Absolutely
don't.
not.
No.
Okay,
Jordan and JoJo, we get it.
okay, Aaron. Good. Thomas says no. We'll give our listeners a little bit of a recap of The Bachelor.
Bachelorette, I think you're
Aaron
thinking.
Rodgers.
Bachelorette.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers' brother Jordan was on The Bachelor, won The Bachelorette. Anyways, they were talking. They met the family or whatever. And they were talking how Aaron Rodgers has no relationship really with his family anymore. Do you think that has something to do with how bad he's playing?
No, it's just he's garbage.
Really?
I think
he's awful. Aaron
Aaron Rodgers is awful. I've never heard anyone say that.
The past few years,
and you live in Minnesota?
from the past
No,
few years,
yeah,
he's had
exactly.
he's had unbelievable numbers.
Yes.
But he's not having a typical Aaron Rodgers year. He's having a below average year. When you look at his numbers, I mean, he had 70% completion last night, but with that, through 5 games, he's only 62% completion on the year. That's 21st best in the NFL. He's behind guys like Case Keenum. That should never happen.
That's so
Right.
yeah, that's so
I mean,
bad.
how can a quarterback go from, doing so well and then one year he's just totally out of it? I mean, that's sports, right?
because
it
he's
could-
sensitive.
he doesn't-
He is too
He is really
emotional about the
sensitive.
game of football.
He needs a big market team. He's in Green Bay, which is
A big market team, Green Bay Packers.
yeah, but Green Bay's in a town the size 200,000 people.
Yeah.
He's not in a big place.
Yeah.
He's playing in a football town, but it's small. He's not playing in New York City. He's not playing in LA. He's not playing in Houston, even Minneapolis.
I gotta say,
he's
if I was a
big-headed
football
guy who needs
player,
a big market
even
team.
though I am a girl, I would want to play for the Packers because of the fans. They are
Oh,
so
yeah,
diehard.
better fans than anywhere else, I could argue.
I don't
But
think
some,
we're-
but
I
some
don't-
people like
you could
some
argue,
people
but
like
you'd be wrong.
exactly.
Well, I'm going to be sticking with them.
Dave, I know I'm not hearing a lot about you
Well,
with your.
Last night, obviously, he's shown what he's capable of. 336 passing yards, broke Brett Favre's record of 39 completions, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. I mean, yeah, he's not going to always perform at the peakness and be all-star or a god. And when he gets human, I mean, he's not going to be consistent with that. I mean, but it's like, still, you can't really bash him, in my mind, because he's
I
like,
love it.
but you
I
can.
I love it.
He-
Leif's getting angry. I
I
don't think
know.
you've seen this.
He did that all against a Bears team. Also, he didn't have a running game. He
Yeah.
had to throw the football that much. So of
so
course
if
he's
you
gonna
know
break
that
the
they're not
record.
going to have a running game, why don't you have better coverage of passing it then?
Because
if
it's
you know
the
they're going to
Bears.
pass it.
Let's keep in
So
mind,
any
this
other
is the
team.
Bears. This is the Bears that they're playing, and he was awful.
It's any NFC team that's going to
He
give you
was
a fight,
awful
no matter
in the
what.
first half, Leif.
Yeah,
Against
offensively,
the
the whole
Bears.
team they were.
The Bears.
I'm getting scared. You got a
it's the
black
New
eye, too.
jerseys. It's the New
Ooh.
jerseys.
Yeah,
man.
it was the color rush.
the color rush
All
jerseys.
right, all
threw
right.
'em
I'll
out.
break it up. We're going to move to college football. I want to talk about this before we got to get going here pretty soon. The AP poll, Alabama, of course, still sitting at number 1, but Ohio State not far behind. What are we seeing with these top teams
They're
with week 8?
they're in a league of their own, and Texas A&M plays Alabama this week. That'll be maybe a 14-point game Alabama's way, and Ohio State plays Penn State primetime Saturday night, and that will be the biggest waste of primetime time.
70-point win.
Exactly. That's not even going to be a game. The Big Ten, that's just terrible.
Well, some games guys to look forward to. I know number 6, Texas A&M plays Alabama this week. Also, Ohio State at Penn State. 2 big games. What do we see in those matchups?
Ohio State. Ohio State is the 3rd best defense in the nation. Penn State, I think it's like 73rd best. They're awful. This is not going to be a game. I don't even know why it's televised. Ohio State by like 62.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you guys, I got to cut you short. We'll talk about it more next time. I want to thank you guys for joining me once again. We will be back next Friday at the same time to talk
bet.
30 minutes all about sports. We'll be back next Friday.
Thank you for listening to Sidelines, your sound and sports alternative. That's 88.1 FM and HD St. Cloud, KVSC.